previous class that good morning, good morning. Okay, students, in the previous class that we had discussed about that of saprophytic bacteria. Okay, you might have remembered that saprophytic bacteria and saprophytic bacteria are bacteria who depend on that living organisms, who depend on living organisms or on dead organic matter for food. I have already told you that that is that type of bacteria. Okay, that type of bacteria depend on that of other organisms or that of organic matter for their food. Okay, and that bacteria, that heterotrophic bacteria, most of them are, I have told you that they are decomposers. They are decomposers and they decompose organic matter by the process of putrefaction and decay. I have told you that terms you might have remembered by the process. That is by the process putrefaction and then decay. Okay, by the process, and most of the among that of heterotrophic bacteria, most of them are decomposers who decompose organic matter by the process of putrefaction and decay. Okay, that you have to remember, and that owing to that region, they are called the natural scavengers. And example of natural scavengers are Bacillus bulgaricus, that is Bacillus bulgaricus and Bacillus ramosus. That you know that these are the ammonifying bacteria. All the ammonifying bacteria are natural scavenger. That concept you have to remember. All that ammonifying bacteria are decomposers and they are also that of heterotrophic bacteria and they are natural scavengers. All ammonifying bacteria, that is Bacillus bulgaricus and Bacillus ramosus. I have told you that they are heterotrophic bacteria. They are not that of chemoautotrophic bacteria. I had already told you, and show that these Bacillus bulgaricus and Bacillus ramosus, and they are the that of ammonifying bacteria and they are the natural scavengers. I had also discussed about it that how heterotrophic bacteria played important role in the preparation of curd. You know that curd is prepared from that of milk, pasteurized milk by the process, curdling process. That process is known as curdling process, and that bacteria involved in such process, as you know that. Have you remembered that, students? Two bacteria that is involved in that of curdling process. Students?
So lactobacillus.
Yes, lactobacillus. And another one is that of that is, I had told you that Lactobacillus bulgaricus. Okay, and that you have to remember that that is Lactobacillus bulgaricus, and what it does, that is convert. You know that lactose, that milk sugar into lactic acid, that it may convert, that is lactose into lactic acid. Okay, that you have to remember that one. And that I have told you that it convert that of Lactobacillus bulgaricus, that is Lactobacillus bulgaricus, that is convert, that is milk sugar lactose to lactic acid. And that another one is that is Streptococcus thermophilus, that what it causes, that it is coagulation of milk protein, that is casein, that is milk protein. It is the milk protein that is coagulation of milk protein, that is casein. That you have to remember that coagulation. What it does, it coagulates, that it helps in the coagulation of milk protein, that is casein. That you have to remember. That is Streptococcus thermophilus. That means it helps in the coagulation of milk protein. That means what you are getting in form of cheese. That is the result of that of that is process which is conducted by that is Streptococcus thermophilus. And in the previous period that you had also discussed about that Velovibrio bacteriophorus, that bacteria plays important role in purifying the Ganga water, and it is owing to that purity and sanctity of Ganga water is maintained by such bacteria. Have you remembered that name of bacteria, students? Can you tell me? Bacteria involved
Sir, Belovibrio bacterium.
Ganga water, purifying Ganga water, that is Belovibrio.
Belovibrio bacterium.
You have to remember, and Pseudomonas tutida, that is cleaning of that oil spills. That and I had also told about that high antibiotics prepared from that of heterotrophic bacteria, and the antibiotics are chemical substances that are collected from that of bacteria, and it is also inoculated into that of persons who are suffering from that bacterial diseases. And that Pseudomonas, that you have to remember that Pseudomonas generic, all the name of generic Pseudomonas mostly used as that of preparation of antibiotics. And I had also discussion about that of different types of nitrifying, that is bacteria that involved in that process of nitrifications, that I had also told about that of in the process that bacteria involved, how they are such a symbiotic relationship. You might have known about them, and you should have that of bacteria which are also non-symbiotic. I had also a lot of discussions, and you know that all such things. And in the previous chapter, I had also told about you that there are some disease-causing bacteria, and the bacteria causes that is different type of diseases in animals and in plants also. And I had also discussion about that of different type of bacteria that also pollute water. And you know that is Vibrio cholerae, and that of that is Shigella dysentery, and all such things, that all such bacteria what they pollute water, and so that you cannot drink such water. And that you know that all the waterborne diseases that are caused by the bacteria, and they also pollute that of water, and it is not in a drinking condition. And if you have to drink such water, then there is a possibility of suffering in bacterial diseases. Okay, and you had also such a lot of discussion. I had also that is citrus canker. I had told a plant bacterial disease, and it is caused by that of Xanthomonas. That you have to remember that it is caused by Xanthomonas, that is bacteria, that is citrus canker. And so that you had a lot of discussion on that of heterotrophic bacteria, which are abundant in nature, and that is they constitute the most of all the bacteria. Then that of Archaebacteria to that of that is cyanobacteria, and that of bacteria they are ammonifying, that is of that of nitrifying bacteria also. They are rich in numbers, and today that we will have to discuss about that of mycoplasmas. Okay, and we will have to discuss about that of actinomycetes. So students, you will have to know today that in mycoplasmas, that you will have to discuss that how it is the smallest of all microorganisms, and how such mycoplasmas are called the jokers of the plant kingdom. You know that that mycoplasma belong to the kingdom of Monera, but instead it is called the jokers of plant kingdom. How that mycoplasma is called as joker of plant kingdom, you will have to know about them, and how such mycoplasma also cause different diseases in animals and plants, also in human beings. And you will also know about that of actinomycetes, and how actinomycete is useful in the preparation of antibiotics. Okay, today we will have to discuss about that of that is two organisms, one that of mycoplasma, and then you'll have to finish that of actinomycetes. Okay, students, now you prepare to listen. That you have to that of mycoplasma. That is mycoplasma. Okay. Mycoplasma. you see that students that mycoplasma, you know that mycoplasma, it was discovered. Okay, that mycoplasma was discovered by two French scientists. By two French scientists. Mycoplasma was discovered by two French scientists that occurred. That is occurred. One is occurred. Another one is ear routes. And then ear, that is routes. That you have to remember that mycoplasma was discovered by two French scientists. Occurred and then ear routes. From that of cattle, from that of pleural fluids, from that of pleural fluids. Okay, that is from that of pleural fluids. From that of pleural fluids, that fluids, that is pleural storms, that is related to that of lungs. That fluids around that, which surround that, which accumulate in the lungs, that is called pleural fluids. So pleural fluids, that means mycoplasma was discovered by two French scientists, occurred and ear routes. And then that means he discovered such mycoplasma from that of pleural fluids of cattle. Pleural fluids of cattle suffering from pleural fluids of cattle suffering from bovine pleuropneumonia, suffering from bovine, that is pleuropneumonia. Okay, that means cattle suffering from bovine pleuropneumonia, that is pneumonia type disease, pleuropneumonia. Bovine, you know that term related to cattle. So that means you remember the first point that mycoplasma was discovered by two French scientists, occurred and ear routes. That first point, and it was discovered from pleural fluids of cattle suffering from bovine pleuropneumonia. Bovine pleuropneumonia, suffering from bovine pleuropneumonia. That term you have to remember, that is bovine related to that of cattle. Cattle suffering from that of pneumonia disease are called as bovine pleuropneumonia. Okay, and that means that you have to remember that mycoplasma discovered by two French scientists. From where mycoplasma discovered? From that is pleural fluids of cattle. Pleural means term related to lungs. Fluids that accumulate in the lungs are called that of pleural. And the fluids, you know that is water, and that of cattle suffering from bovine pleuropneumonia. Those cattle suffer from that of bovine pleuropneumonia. That means from their pleural fluids, mycoplasma was discovered for the first time by two French scientists. Going to that region, such mycoplasma was called that of a pleuropneumonia-like organism. That is pleuropneumonia, pneumonia-like organisms. Okay, that is organisms. That is PPLO. It is shortly called PPLO. That you remember. Okay, that means you remember also thing that mycoplasma was discovered by two French scientists, occurred and ear routes. And from where he discovered? From pleural fluids of cattle suffering from bovine pleuropneumonia. Okay, you understood, students? Now that is going to that region, as such organism was first discovered from that of pleural fluids of cattle. Such organisms are called pleuropneumonia-like organisms, or PPLO. That PPLO means that mycoplasma, pleuropneumonia-like organisms. Now, students, you understood why mycoplasma is called as a pleuropneumonia-like organisms? Anyone can tell? Abhishek?
Again, that question, please.
Question is why mycoplasma is called Pneumonia-like organism?
So because it is formed from pleural fluids kettle.
Oh yes, very good. Because it was found from that pleural fluids of cattle going to that region, it is called pneumonia-like organism. Students, you remember that that means from that name the two French scientists who discovered mycoplasma.
Sir, Enoch and Enoch.
Yes, very good. Very good. That is French scientist in Knocker and Eyre-Roux. Okay. Students, you understood that discovered from whom, from where discovered, and for that region it is called PPLO. Okay. Now you come to that that means it is highly pleomorphic. That means it is highly pleomorphic. That it is highly pleomorphic. Pleomorphic in the sense that that is pleomorphic. It is highly pleomorphic. Pleomorphic. That is, you know that it is highly pleomorphic. That is in Greek word, pleo means many. That is pleo. In Greek words, pleo means many. And that is morph. That is form. Okay. So it is of many forms. That is, you will be surprised that such microorganisms, that is microorganisms, it is smallest one, and it can of different forms. So it is called that of highly pleomorphic. As it lacks cell wall. Why it is becoming into different shape and size? Because mycoplasma lacks cell wall. That is among the all organisms in bacteria in kingdom Monera, that mycoplasma lacks cell wall. They have no cell wall. Mycoplasmas have no cell wall. So they are highly pleomorphic as they have no such wall to protect it. So that they are highly pleomorphic. Pleomorphic means in Greek word, pleo means many, and morphic, that is morphic means form. So they are of many forms. Okay. So they are of many forms and they are varying in shape. That they are varying in shape. They may be of spherical, or they meet that is, you see that they are of that of filamentous also. Okay, filamentous also. They can be spherical, that is spherical, and they can also be that of filamentous. So as they are pleomorphic, like shell wall, they are of different size. They are of different forms. They are of different varieties. They may be spherical, they may be filamentous, or they may be any other forms. So you remember, they are highly pleomorphic. In Greek word, pleo means many, morph means that is forms. So they are of different size, they are of different forms, they are of varieties of forms, so that they are may be spherical, they may be also filamentous or any other forms. That you have to remember. They are highly pleomorphic, many forms. Okay, and then so that they are of that you know that they are of spherical or that of filamentous in structure or any other structure also they are. Okay, and then you come to that. They vary in size. They vary in size. I have told you that they vary in size. Vary in the size means mostly from 0.125 to from 0.125 to 0.150 to 0.150. That is micron in diameter. That is micron in diameter. Okay, you remember that. That means their size to that of they are vary in size, that is mostly from that of 0.125 to 0.150 micron in diameter. Imagine that how they are so small. That means that is 1 micron, that 10 to the power minus 6 meter you might have known, and so that is 0.15 to 0.150 micron in diameter, their size. So going to, and so they are called the smallest free living microorganisms. They are called smallest free living microorganisms. Microorganism. You know that they are called PPLO. Now you remember that they are smallest free living microorganisms. They are no, that means they have no symbiotic relationship with other organisms, but they are parasitic in form. But they have no symbiotic relationship with other organisms. They are smallest of all the free living microorganisms. If there is a question that who is that called the smallest free living microorganisms, answer is that of mycoplasma.
Mycoplasma.
And their size varies from that of 0.125 to 0.150 micron in diameter, and they are smallest free living microorganisms. Okay, that you have to remember. Smallest free living microorganisms, and they can pass through bacteria through filters, and they can pass through bacteria through filters. Bacteria cannot pass through that bacteria proof filters, but mycoplasma can pass through bacteria proof filters. So you imagine that they are smallest than other bacteria because they can pass through that bacteria proof filters. That means it is a mechanism that to measure that size of bacteria, and those bacteria can pass it easily. They are that of a mycoplasma. So they can pass easily through bacteria proof filters, and they are the smallest free living microorganisms. That you have to remember. Among the all microorganisms, that mycoplasma is the smallest one. Okay, and it can pass through that bacteria proof filters. Then you have to know that they are unicellular. Students, can you guess that mycoplasma may be that of gram positive or gram negative bacteria? That mycoplasma, the gram negative bacteria. Okay, that means they are unicellular. They are unicellular, and they are non-motile. They cannot move. Okay, they are unicellular. They are non-motile. Gram negative prokaryotes. They are gram negative prokaryotes. Okay, they are gram negative prokaryotes. They are unicellular, non-motile, gram negative prokaryotes which lack distinct cell wall. That means lack cell wall. The important feature is that of mycoplasma is lack cell wall. You remember that is lack cell wall. It is very important feature of that is mycoplasma, that you have to remember that is lack cell wall. That is most important feature. They are unicellular, non-motile, gram negative prokaryotes. They lack shell wall. There is no cell wall. Lack shell walls. Okay, and don't produce spore, and do not produce spore. Do not produce spore. You know that all the bacteria that are acquainted with the mechanism of producing spore, when that environment is not conducive for them, when environment is not workable for them, that means when environment is not productive for them, that means they produce spores and live in that, because they can have to withstand such environment change. They can have to bear such environmental change by producing spores. Other bacteria, all bacteria, but mycoplasma have no such mechanism of producing spores. So this is a concept that you have to remember. All bacteria have capacity to produce spore, but mycoplasma, the only type of bacteria which lacks such mechanism of producing spore during that of the bad weather situation, that is bad environmental situation, when environment is antipathic, so that at that time that they don't have such capacity of producing spore. But other bacteria have capacity to produce spore. So you have to remember, okay, they are unicellular, non-motile, gram negative prokaryotes, lack cell wall, don't produce spore, whereas other bacteria produce spore. Okay, that you have to remember. What is the most important characteristics of mycoplasma? That is, students, what is the most important characteristics of mycoplasma?
Mycoplasma have
Sir,
legs.
the lax cell wall.
Very good, brilliant, brilliant. Lax cell wall, brilliant answer. Okay, then come to the students that they are called you will be surprised that they are called the jokers of plant kingdom. Jokers of plant kingdom. They are called jokers of plant kingdom. You can ask me, sir, that mycoplasma, that means topics which is now discussing, that mycoplasma belong to kingdom. Students, mycoplasma belong to which kingdom?
The plant kingdom.
Kingdom
Plant.
Manera.
Kingdom.
Very good. Kingdom Manera. Okay, mycoplasma belong to, because you are now going on that topics that of mycoplasma. You are today you are finishing that topic that of kingdom Manera, and so that mycoplasma belong to Manera kingdom. But why they are called the jokers of plant kingdom? That means question may be surprised, baffled to you, because for the first time you are knowing such things. Because biology you are reading for the first time at the +2, at the 11th standard. So such terms are new for. Okay, and you see that jokers of plant kingdom, and you know that
The lax
jokers,
cell wall.
that in the circus you might have seen the jokers, or on television or any other serials you might have seen the jokers, and show that who can, that means change their forms. That means we are accustomed to change their forms and sizes. They are called jokers. And so that you know that as mycoplasma lacks shell wall, so it can change to different size, to different forms. It is the obvious regions. Another reason
Yes, sir.
that mycoplasma are parasitic to plants. They live on plants. All that is mycoplasma live on plants, and they are, that means they stay on plants. So that as they stay on plants, and they change to different forms, in various forms, different sizes. So obviously they are called the jokers of plant kingdom. Understood, students? That mycoplasma lacks cell wall, so they can change to different forms. They are pleomorphic. As they are in parasitic in nature, and they dwell and they live on plants, and they are since their different sizes, different forms, like jokers. So they are called jokers of plant kingdom. Students, now you understand that Aditya, are you present?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you tell me that why that mycoplasma are called jokers of plant kingdom?
Yes, sir. Sir, because mycoplasma can
Yes.
it can take any shape of the parasitic. It is.
Yes. Very good. Yes.
Yes, sir.
That means you have to tell that they are parasitic in nature with plants, and they live and dwell on plants. That is first point. Then they pleomorphic, they change their size and shape to different forms, and they look like jokers. Okay, owing to that reason,
Yes, sir.
they are called jokers of plant kingdom.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you understand now that the mycoplasma are called the jokers of plant kingdom. Okay. Then come
Yes,
to
sir.
the students that they are the cell membrane. That you know that mycoplasma lacks cell wall. So cell membrane must be present, because without cell membrane, there is survival of such organism is at stake. That means it is not possible if lack that is cell membrane. So it is cell membrane is made up of protein and cholesterol. That is cell membrane. That cell membrane is made of protein and cholesterol. That you have to remember. Okay. The cell membrane is made up of protein and cholesterol. Okay. And that cytoplasma contains, and in that, after that cell membrane, that cytoplasma contains ribosomes. You know that I had already told you that organelle which is common to both. Students, have you remembered which organelle is common?
Yes,
to
sir.
both,
Yes, sir.
that-
Prokaryote and eukaryote.
Which is common? That is
Sir, ribosomes in
Very
prokaryote
good,
70.
brilliant, brilliant. That
is-
cytoplasma, that is 70s ribosome, that is 70s ribosomes. Okay, 70s ribosomes and a dsDNA, that is double stranded dsDNA and ssRNA, single stranded RNA. Okay, that cytoplasma of cytoplasma of mycoplasma contains that of 70s ribosome 1, then dsDNA, double stranded DNA, that is 2, and ssRNA, single stranded RNA, that is 3. Okay, that cytoplasma consists. Cell membrane is made of protein and cholesterol. Cytoplasma is made up of 70s ribosome, dsDNA, and ssRNA. Very important that you have to remember. That is dsDNA, 70s ribosome, and ssRNA. Okay, and that also they have also soluble proteins. They have also soluble proteins. Soluble proteins. That is soluble in water, soluble in fat, lipids. So that soluble protein. There, so that cytoplasma contain that 70s ribosome, dsDNA, ssRNA, soluble protein. You have to remember what that 4 items that are present in cytoplasma: 70s ribosome, dsDNA, ssRNA, and soluble proteins. Very important. We have to remember cell membrane is made up of protein and cholesterol. Okay, students, you understand clearly? Then come to that of our
Yes, sir.
resistance to cell wall. That is mycoplasma, such smallest organisms, but can resist to antibiotic penicillin. Okay, mycoplasma can resist antibiotic penicillin, but it cannot resist to streptomycin and other antibiotic. Okay, it cannot resist. It only resists to that of penicillin. I had already told you that penicillin, that is penicillin antibiotic, that is what it does. That means it is stop the synthesis of cell wall. So cell wall formation synthesis is stopped. That is formation of cell wall stop. So that microorganism, that bacteria cannot multiply. And but in other cases, that is, it will retard the metabolic development. That means you understand the student concept that mycoplasma can resist antibiotic penicillin, but it cannot resist other antibiotic. Only can resist penicillin. Okay, it can resist. Mycoplasma can resist only that of penicillin. Penicillin, and penicillin, you know that what penicillin does when that you apply it stops the synthesis of cell wall of bacteria. Bacterial cell wall synthesis it makes stop. So that bacteria cannot grow, bacteria cannot multiply. So person suffering from that disease will be easily alleviated. So that resists penicillin, but that mycoplasma, if you apply that penicillin to that of person suffering from that of mycoplasma pneumoniae, that means such person cannot be recovered because penicillin is useless for that of mycoplasma, because mycoplasma can easily resist it. But if you have to apply the antibiotics like that of that is streptomycin, erythromycin, tetracyclines, which act on metabolic pathways. Suppose I am citing streptomycin. That means if you apply streptomycin, that person suffering from that of disease caused by mycoplasma, he can be recovered, because that streptomycin, actinomycins, they will stop the metabolic pathways. That means they will interfere in the metabolic pathways of, you know that metabolism is common to all organisms, whether that of microorganisms or to that of higher organisms. So metabolic pathways of mycoplasma. Okay, you remember that concept? Mycoplasma can easily resist penicillin. Penicillin, that means if you apply penicillin, it is useless. That means it has no value, because penicillin can be easily resisted by mycoplasma. But if you have to apply that of antibiotic to that of streptomycin, actinomycins, then they are useful because they will stop the metabolic pathway. They will interfere in the metabolic pathways. First terms you remember: penicillin, cell wall formation, cell wall formation, cell wall formation. That means penicillin stops cell wall formation of bacteria, and the streptomycin, actinomycin, and other that is other penicillin, they stop metabolic pathways. They interfere metabolism. Metabolic pathway means metabolism. That means they interfere in the process of metabolism. If metabolic process are interfered, then how that such bacteria will exist? So streptomycin, actinomycins are useful for mycoplasma, but penicillin is useless. That means penicillin has no value. Okay, that concept you have to understand, students. That means penicillin's no value. Penicillin's function is to stop cell wall formation. Streptomycin, actinomycin, if you have to apply to that bacterial disease suffering from, they will stop the metabolic pathway. They will interfere the process of metabolism. So that bacteria cannot exist. So that bacteria cannot grow. So the bacteria cannot multiply. Okay, that thing, students, you remember, it is very important. Okay, then come to that of that reproduced by means of binary fission. Okay, that is enough to come to that of reproduction, how they reproduce, that of binary fission. Okay, reproduced by means of binary fission. That is binary fission. Reproduce through binary fission. That you have to remember. You know already that all microorganisms reproduce. So that of mycoplasma also, that it also reproduced by means of binary fission. Okay, that reproduced through binary fission. Then come to that of occur, where they occur. That means they occur. That is, they occur saprotropically. They are saprobic bacteria. They are mostly saprobic and parasitic. They are saprobic and parasitic. Occur saprobically. That means saprophytically. Where they occur? That they occur in soil. They occur in soil. Then sewage water. Okay, they occur in soil and then sewage water. Sewage water, and that also in decaying organic matter. In decaying organic matter. Okay, you have to find them that they are in soil, they are in sewage water, and that they are also in decaying organic matter. Okay, that means they occur saprotropically, because saprotropical, that term you have to remember, saprotropically. That means decomposition, where term saprotropic is there, you remember the decomposition, the process of decomposition. So they are also involved in the process of decomposition. From soil, they decompose soil, and that sewage water, they also sewage some that of organic matter in organ. Where there is organic matter, there is a decomposition. Where there is a decomposition, there is saprobic bacteria. In such way, remember, organic matter means decomposition. Decomposition means that of saprobic. Where there is organic matter, there is saprobic bacteria. Okay, organic matter, that means decomposition process. Decomposition process will be done by that of saprobic bacteria. So they dwell. So they found in the soil saprotropically. They also in sewage, because organic matter also there. They can have to decompose it and also get their ATP, and so that in decaying organic matter also that mycoplasma live. That means mycoplasma can found in such that is in soil, in sewage water, and that of in decaying organic matter, and they are found saprotropically. That means they are in saprobic in nature. They are also decomposers. If you have to tell that mycoplasma are decomposers, it is also true. They are parasitically, and that of they are saprotropically. They live in nature. Okay, they are found in soil. They found in They also found that is in sewage water and also found in decaying organic matter. That you will have to remember. Okay. Then some students that they can survive without oxygen. You remember that. That means such microorganisms like that of archaebacteria, they can also survive without oxygen. If there is no oxygen, they can have to survive. So they are also called facultative anaerobes. So they are called, that is, facultative anaerobes. I am telling you that because that you remember that I have already told you that the mycoplasma can survive without oxygen. But oxygen that like that of archaebacteria, so archaebacteria are called, that is, anaerobes. But you see that why the mycoplasma, despite the eubacteria, despite being called as eubacteria, why they are called facultative anaerobes? Because they can live, that they can live in oxygen, they can live without oxygen. That means they can use oxygen for their survival. They even can survive without oxygen. That concept you remember. Facultative, that is strict. Strict anaerobes means that is completely in absence of oxygen. That is strict anaerobes. Strict anaerobes. Strict anaerobes means that completely absence of oxygen. But facultative means when oxygen available, they live. Without availability, without availability of oxygen, non-availability of oxygen, they can also live. So they are called facultative. You remember such terms. Facultative. Facultative in the sense that means availability of oxygens or non-availability of oxygens, organism can dwell. So they are called facultative anaerobes. That means you remember that when oxygen is present, that is aerobic respiration takes place. That means in mycoplasma, you remember that in mycoplasma, why they are called facultative anaerobes, I am also that is defining that they can do, that is aerobic respiration. They can do aerobic respiration, that is respiration in presence of oxygen, in presence of oxygen, okay, in presence of oxygen, and in absence of oxygen, in case of oxygen is not available in the surrounding, they can also live, but they at that time they do fermentation, that is decomposition process, that is fermentation, okay. Remember that without oxygen, without O2. Remember that means that is mycoplasma are called strict anaerobes because they can live with oxygen, without oxygen. But and also in the presence of oxygen, they do aerobic respiration, and in absence of oxygen, they do fermentation for their living. That means process which don't need that of no requirement of oxygen, so that is fermentation. You remember that is mycoplasma is such an organism which can exist both, that is with oxygen, and it is aerobic respiration, and so it can live. Suppose absence of oxygen in the surrounding, that means it can also live by the process of fermentation, that is without oxygen. Okay, so you remember that it can do aerobic respiration as well as that is fermentation in case of absence of oxygen. So into that region, they are called facultative anaerobes. Okay, understand students? Then come to that of that means there are some mycoplasmas parasitically and pathogenetically. Some are, I have told you that some, that is mycoplasma live parasitically on plants and they are called jokers of plant kingdom. I have told you that. And some mycoplasma also cause that is disease causing, that is pathogen bearing mycoplasmas, and they cause different diseases to human beings, to animals, and to plants also. Okay, and that disease cause, that is mycoplasma pneumoniae, that is mycoplasma, that is mycoplasma pneumoniae, that is a disease, that is mycoplasma pneumoniae, that is mycoplasma, a pathogen that causes pneumonia diseases in human beings. That you remember, that is called mycoplasma pneumoniae. That is not a bacterial, that is completely and witch's broom. That is witch's broom. That is witch's broom. In plant of groundnut. In plants of groundnut. Okay, in plants of groundnut and potatoes and potato. That means that witch's broom. That means that is broom like. That means that plants, some parts of the leafy structure of the plant look like broom. Broom, you know that, and the witches, you know that, the term witches brooms. So they are found in groundnut and potato. Witches broom is a disease caused by mycoplasma. In which plant? In groundnut and potato. Okay, students. So remember that mycoplasma causes disease, that is mycoplasma pneumoniae, that cause disease of pneumonia in human beings. And that witch's broom. Witch's broom is a plant disease. Is a plant disease which is found in groundnut and potato. And some leafy parts, leafy structure of that groundnut and potato will look like a broom. So it's called that of witch's broom, found in groundnut and potato. These are that of about that of mycoplasma. I have already discussed about that of different pleomorphic in nature, that is plural like organisms. Okay, and you know that smallest microorganism I have also discussed regarding it, and you know about their lack of cell wall, cell membrane consists of that of protein, and that you know that and it is cytoplasma consists that of ribosome, 7ds ribosome, DSA, DNA, ssRNA, and some soluble protein. You know about that how they are called, that of jokers to plant kingdoms. I have also discussed about these things and how they are some, that is penicillins, that means resist penicillins, antibiotic. How can they resist penicillin? Antibiotic and penicillins, and can also that means antibiotic like that of actomycins and that of streptomycin. They are useful for that of that is mycoplasma. You cannot resist such type of antibiotic. Okay, students, now we have to discuss about that last actinomyces. I'm just telling you, actinomyces is a group of unicellular. It is a group of unicellular. It is a group of unicellular branch and filamentous bacteria. Branch and filamentous. Branch and filamentous bacteria.
Sir, background sound.
Sir, not audible.
Sir, not audible,
Audible
sir.
due to background sound.
Sir, not audible, sir.
Mycelia.
Not audible, sir.
That is called mycelium.
Sir, not audible. Sir, not audible.
And that mycelium, that fungus spread it is mycelium to different areas for food, that is for food source. Okay.
Not audible, sir.
That means.
Not audible.
That means
Sir, not audible.
students are not That is not hearing to me. Students?
Yes, sir. Now audible.
Yes,
Sir, due
sir.
to background sound, it is not audible.
Okay. So you see that there are actinomycetes. I'm just teaching you that of actinomycetes. Actinomycetes are unicellular branch and filamentous bacteria. Okay, they are unicellular branch and filamentous bacteria. They resemble like fungal mycelia. Mycelia is a plural form of mycelium. Mycelium is a vegetative part. Okay, vegetative part. That means mycelium. That means fungus. You know that fungus cannot move. Fungus cannot. That means fly. That is fungus cannot swim also. That means it will have to. That means it will have to substratum. That means it will have to join with the substratum, and will have to spread its mycelium to different areas so that it will have to collect food. Where there is a food source, mycelium develop in that place, and it will contribute for that of fungal existence. So that is mycelia. So actinomycete also spread its mycelium to different areas for that of food source. So going to that region, it resemble like that of fungal mycelia. So actinomycete unicellular branch and filamentous bacteria resemble like fungal mycelia. It is singular form is mycelium. Mycelium means vegetative part. You can understand better in kingdom fungi when that means you will have to discuss it. You can know it better. So I am just telling you that is mycelium means vegetative part, and through mycelium fungus collect its food. Okay, it is spread to that of food source. That is mycelium. So actinomycete unicellular branch filamentous bacteria resemble like fungal mycelia or mycelium. Okay, it is a gram-positive bacteria. Students, you remember, it is a gram-positive bacteria. It is a gram-positive bacteria. That is gram-positive bacteria. You remember that it is a gram-positive bacteria. It is a gram-positive bacteria, and it is a saprotrophic in nature. That is saprotrophic. Saprotrophic in nature. You remember that unicellular branch and filamentous bacteria resemble like fungal mycelia. Singular is mycelium vegetative part. It is gram-positive bacteria, not gram-negative bacteria. Gram-positive bacteria and saprotrophic in nature. It is also involved in the process of decomposition. I knew that it is resemble like that of fungus. Fungus also based on that of decomposition. So actinomycete also in decomposition. It is also decomposer. Actinomycetes are also a group of decomposers. You remember that concept. Okay. Then students, that most of species are facultative anaerobic. Most of the species are facultative anaerobic. I have already discussed about that facultative anaerobic. So there is no need of discussion here. Okay. And that is facultative anaerobic. Facultative anaerobic. Like that of mycoplasma. Question will ask that. Which feature that is next similarity to that of mycoplasma to that of actinomycete? That is facultative anaerobic. Both are facultative anaerobic. In absence of oxygen, with oxygen, they can also live. Okay, there is no problems. In absence of oxygen, also actinomycete can exist. Okay, students. Then it is also asexual reproduction. It is asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is that of fragmentation, and conidia, and oidia. Okay, oidia. That means it will have to do that of asexual reproduction, fragmentation, conidia, and oidia. That actinomycetes can asexually reproduce through that of fragmentation, that is conidia, and oidia. That terms you have to remember. And the actinomycetes, that important antibiotics, it produce important that is streptomycin. That is streptomycin. That you know that streptomycin is important antibiotic which block the metabolic pathways of bacteria. So that streptomycin is produced by that of actinomycete. Actinomycetes that produce, that is chemical substances, and that are streptomycin, useful to block the metabolic pathways of bacteria. Okay, remember students, you know that of actinomycetes. How actinomycetes are that of that is unicellular. How they are branch filamentous also. They are also that of gram-positive bacteria and saprophytic in nature, and they do it is asexual reproduction through fragmentation, conidia and oidia, and it looks resemble to that of fungal mycelium, mycelia, that you have to remember. System, it is very important. Another important that it produce that of chemical substances streptomycin, which is used as a what antibiotic. That is chemical substances streptomycin. That point you have to remember. Very important for actinomycetes. Students, today I finished that of kingdom Monera. You know from that of Archaebacteria to that of actinomycetes, and tomorrow that if you have to doubt exist in your mind, tomorrow you ask me any question regarding that of kingdom Monera, mind, you can solve it tomorrow. Okay, students. Now come to 5 MCQs.
5 चला.
Okay, students, match the column. First question is that match the column. That is match the column. First question, that is match the columns. Okay. That Bacillus ramosus. Bacillus ramosus. Then B is that of Belovibrio-bacteriovorus. Belovibrio-bacteriovorus. Then come to that of Pseudomonas foetida. Pseudomonas foetida. Then come students that of Lactobacillus bulgaricus. Lactobacillus bulgaricus. Okay, come to that of students to that of opposite side, that of that is in first one, that of cleaning oil spill. Cleaning oil spill. Oil spill. Okay. I that you have to curdling of milk. Curdling of milk. Then triple I to that of natural scavenger. Natural scavenger. And that of IV. IV is that of purifying Ganga water. Purifying Ganga water. Okay, students. So that is option A, B, C, D. Okay, you come to that of option I, IV, triple I. Okay, then come to that of triple I to that of IV, then come to that of I and II. Then come triple I, IV, II. Then IV, triple I, III. Any students' idea?
Sir, option B.
So option
Sir,
B.
option B.
Option B.
Brilliant answer. That is Bacillus ramosus, that is natural scavenger. Belovibrio-bacteriovorus, purifying Ganga water. Pseudomonas foetida, that is cleaning oil spill. And Bacillus bulgaricus, curdling of milk. So answer B is right. Brilliant answer. Then come to that of next question. Heterotrophic bacteria involved in the preparation of antibiotics are heterotrophic bacteria. You write down question. Heterotrophic bacteria involved in the preparation of antibiotics. Next question. Heterotrophic bacteria involved in the process of in the preparation of antibiotics. Okay, heterotrophic bacteria involved in the preparation of antibiotics are option A is that of that is Bacillus and Pseudomonas. That is Bacillus and Pseudomonas. Then option B is that of Salmonella and Shigella. And then come to that Microbacterium and Clostridium. Microbacterium and Clostridium. Then option B is that of Streptococcus. That is option B is that of Bacillus and Streptococcus. And Streptococcus. Option that is students heterotrophic bacteria involved in the preparation of antibiotics are Bacillus and Pseudomonas.
Sir, option A. Sir, option A.
Very good. Brilliant answer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all the type generic of Bacillus and that of Pseudomonas involved in the preparation of antibiotics because their chemical substances are useful for preparation of antibiotics. Then come to students the next question. Which of the following is a disease-causing bacteria in plants? Which of the following? Next question, students. Which of the following? Which of the following is a disease-causing bacteria in plants? Okay, students, which of the following is a disease-causing bacteria in plants? Okay, option A, that is Salmonella. Option B, that is Streptococcus. Then option C, that is of Bordetella. That is Bordetella. And option D, that of Xanthomonas.
Sir, Xanthomonas. Sir, Xanthomonas. Sir,
Yes.
option D.
Option
D. Option D.
D.
Yes.
Not D.
Sir, D is. Sir, D.
Yes,
Xanthomonas.
Brilliant answer. That is Xanthomonas. Which of the following is a disease-causing bacteria in plants? That is Xanthomonas. Okay, students, I had already told you that Xanthomonas, that it is called that is citrus canker. Okay, that is called citrus canker. That you have to remember. Citrus canker. Xanthomonas causes the citrus canker in plants. That you have to remember. Very important. Which of the following is a disease-causing bacteria in plants? Answer is Xanthomonas. Then come to that question number 4. The correct sequence of process in holozoic. The next question. The correct sequence of process in holozoic mode of nutrition. The correct sequence of processes found in holozoic mode of nutrition is, okay, the correct sequence of process found in holozoic mode of nutrition is. Students, now you write down that of ingestion, digestion, assimilation, absorption, and egestion. Then B. ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation.
Sir, option B. Sir, option B.
Option B.
Sir, option B.
Yes, sir.
Very good,
Option B.
brilliant answer. So you are not letting me to write other, that is options. Okay. Many thanks to you. I have understood clearly. That is ingestion. You have to take food. Digestion. You have to digest. Then absorb. Also
Absorption, assimilation,
assimilated
egestion.
with blood, and that of egestion. That is undigested food coming out from the body. Brilliant answer, students. Then come to that of question number 5. Last question. Rhizobium does not fix nitrogen in the root nodules of. Last question. Last question. That is, rhizobium does not fix nitrogen. Last question. Rhizobium does not fix nitrogen. Nitrogen in the root nodules of. In the root nodules of. Okay. Rhizobium does not fix nitrogen in the root nodules of. That is P. P. That is P. That is bean. Okay. P bean. Then lentil. Lentil D. Alnus. Alnus.
Sir, in P, option A.
Rhizobium does not fix nitrogen in the root nodules of pea, bean, lentil, alnus.
Sir, B. Sir, bean. Sir, bean.
B,
Sir, bean. Option B.
D, yes, that is alnus. Very good, because pea, bean, lentil are leguminous.
Yes, sir. It is an.
They belong to that of family, Fabaceae family. That is Fabaceae family. But alnus, that is
Yes, sir.
non-leguminous.
It is a non-leguminous plant.
Very good, brilliant answer. Many thanks. You have understood well and answering that all question. Many thanks to you. Okay, thank you, students. That and tomorrow you, that if you have any doubt, Kingdom Manera, because today I finished Kingdom Manera, and from next week onward you will start that of Kingdom Practice. Okay, so that if you have doubt any, and please you tell me tomorrow, and you will have to just solve it, and in doubt persist in your mind. And many thanks to you for your answer. Brilliant answer today. Thank you, students.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.